What's going on, everybody? It's Mr. Do It On. Today I'm going to be talking about continuing our NFL preview series, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the New York Giants, a team that offensively is offensive skill position wise, receiver predominantly is stacked, probably the best receiving corps possibly in the NFL, definitely in the NFC East, and a defense that is probably top 5 to top 10 in the league. Now let's talk about some of their key transactions from the offseason. They signed Brandon Marshall to add to Odell Beckham and Sterling Shepard. They brought in DJ Fluker, offensive lineman. They re-signed Jason Pierre-Paul to a 4-year contract. And they picked up their 5th-year option on Odell Beckham, who also said not that long ago, maybe a week or two ago, that he wanted to be the highest paid player in NFL history. Which, you're a receiver. I don't think receivers get paid as much as quarterbacks. They do have a little bit of a temper problem. Just talking about their team. Their weakest position is offensive line. I'm sorry, Giant fans, do not hate on me, but your weakest position is offensive line. You probably have one of the worst offensive lines in NFL, and you have the worst offensive line in the NFC East. Your running backs are subpar. They're about average. We'll see what happens with Paul Perkins. I really liked him coming out of UCLA. See if they get him more involved in the running game. I do believe that the Giants were in 3 wide receiver sets last year about 90% of the time. So you're going to see a lot of Brandon Marshall, you're going to see a lot of Odell, and you're going to see a lot of Sterling Shepard. And they drafted, who did they draft? After that tight end. Is it Evan Ingram? I think it was Evan Ingram from Ole Miss. I think they wanted the one from, let me see. Yeah, Evan Ingram from Ole Miss, which was a solid pick, but they could have addressed more of a need on the offensive line. Eric Flowers is is the worst left tackle in the NFL. Now they did draft the potential replacement in Eli Manning and Davis Webb. We'll see what happens there. Eli is getting on the back end of his career. He is a little turnover prone still, and we'll see what happens. I mean, their offense is gonna light it up, and they have definitely one of the best defenses in the NFL, especially their back end, with probably, in my opinion, not to hate on Earl Thomas, any safety in the league, but Landon Collins is amazing to me. He's definitely, in my eyes, the best safety. He can play in the box. He can be the deep man. He can cover your tight end. Just so many tools in his game, And their defensive ends can get after you with JPP, Olivier Vernon, and I think Romeo Okwara? Not sure. And they did lose Jonathan Hankins in the offseason. One of those big bodies in the middle that can just eat up blockers. But they do have they got Snacks Harrison, right? Who's a big man in the middle of their defense to eat up blocks for those linebackers to play free and easy. And at each cornerback they have Janoris Jenkins, who does run his mouth a little bit, but he backs it up on the field. He does get the picks. He will go and follow the best receiver, which I applaud any cornerback that does that. In order to follow the team's best receiver, you have to, especially as a cornerback in today's NFL where offensives get away with anything. At the other corner, it looks like they have Eli Apple starting and Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie in the third cornerback. That's a big, lanky guy. So, I mean, their back four and their ends and their back four and their front four can get after you. And that allows for their linebackers to probably play free and easy. just get to the ball and make the tackle. And now let's jump to their schedule here. You know that they start the season off against Dallas. We'll leave that as a toss-up. Then they play Detroit in New York, which I think they will win. At Philly. Now, anybody who knows NFC East teams, they play each other tough. They draft to beat each other. And it's probably the toughest division in football. I don't care what anybody says. I was raised that the NFC East is the toughest division in football. They beat the shit out of each other. I'm looking at you in AFC South. And no, not AFC South, AFC North. Y'all ain't shit. And then they play at Philly, so I think that they'll win that game. At Tampa. Now, Tampa's a very improved team. I think that they'll lose that game. Playing in that humidity. You know Tampa Bay is probably going to wear white at home, so they're going to make them wear their colored uniforms. Then they play the Chargers in New York. I think they'll win that game. Then they'll go to Denver, and I think they'll win that game. They'll lose versus Seattle in New York. Then they have their bye week. They'll beat the Rams. They'll lose. No, my bad. I'm sorry. They'll beat San Francisco. Toss up against Kansas City. They'll probably lose to Washington in Washington. What looks like a Thanksgiving Day game. They'll play at Oakland. That's a toss-up game. Then they'll probably toss-up game versus Dallas again. Those Dallas and New York games can go either way. They always come down to the last play of the last game. So we'll see. Probably beat Philly. Let's see, did I say they beat Philly? I think that every NFC East team will go 3-3. Probably. Maybe the Eagles have more 2-4. Some team's gonna go 4-2. We'll see. I think that they could beat Arizona in Arizona. That can go either way. And then I think the last game of the season that could have a lot of weight. So it's against Washington in New York. So it can go either way because that game could be for the division. It could be for a wild card berth. It could be for something very important. You know, it could be. I don't know. It's just my prediction. I do, however, think that they'll finish 10-6. 10-6, 9-7, 11-5, somewhere around there. Same as Dallas. They'll make the playoffs as a wild card or win the division. Same as Dallas. I think NFC East will have two teams at least make the playoffs. And that'll do it for the New York Giants. I'll finish up with the Eagles and Redskins tomorrow. Make sure to check those out. And I'm out of here. Thanks, guys.